How a 23-year-old became such a good mom to so many kids, plus all updates. I 23F am one of 5 kids. I have 3 brothers and 1 little sister. My siblings are ages 15, 11, 9 and then a baby sibling who is a year and a half. To sum it up, I have been raising my siblings since I was maybe 10. My parents had me at 15. CPS was involved, but my parents definitely knew how to put on an act, and I was too scared to speak up in fear of losing my siblings. Until I was 18, my parents, my siblings, and I all lived under one roof. They weren't really around apart from late at night, as they cared more about partying and drugs than their own kids. But when I moved out, I took the 3 at the time with me. It's a long story of how that I won't get into now. A few years later, my new baby sibling was also with us. Then again, long story to why my brother 15 had seizures when he was a toddler, and it was terrifying. But he hasn't had one in a long time, up until recently. It was scary and very sudden. My boyfriend lives with us, and we both were just trying to comfort him and be there till it was over. He stopped breathing and scared the living daylight out of me. It really hit me how afraid I was of losing one of these kids. I was trying everything I could to get him to breathe again, but since it was from a seizure, I didn't know what to do. We got him to breath and was quickly deciding the best approach. Is it an ambulance matter or is it a drive to the hospital matter? I realized I didn't know much about his medical background as to why he had seizures, as it wasn't something I thought about. Since I'm not their legal guardian, I don't have easy access to that stuff. I forced my parents to come to our place by threatening them. I was still with my brother when they got there. I was holding up his head in my lap and just stroking his hair to comfort him. Well, he officially woke up instead of slightly and got a bit startled. Now in the past, based on only remembering me growing up, he has slipped up and said mom but corrects himself. But this time he said mom because he was scared and he was looking up to me worried and concerned. This was the first seizure he ever remembers experiencing, so it was scary. My mom took this very personally. She got upset that I stole her kids and now they call me mom. She says I don't deserve the title as I didn't birth any of them. I was feeling petty because she really has the nerve to say that when her son just had a seizure, and I practically had to force her to come see him. I ended up telling her how the baby calls me mama and that I refer to all 4 of them as my kids. She calls me a sick woman for just taking her family. I took them, but it was only because it was safer that way. ITA update. I hate the question, will you have a baby of your own? I get it's a harmless question, but man, it really bugs me because I just don't know. I'm raising 4 kids already and have since I was a child. While it's been rough and I have spent years raising kids, I'm still deciding if I want my own. My youngest sibling is a year and a half, practically my child anyway, as I'm at the right age for it to make sense now. But does it feel different to when you have your own biological baby? Part of me wants to experience the whole raising a baby thing on my terms, as weird as it sounds, but give birth, be able to fully be a mom to that kid without them having any other connection to my parents, not fearing that I will lose them all the time, and just getting to raise a baby with the man I love. The other half of me feels done raising kids. I've raised these ones and I've been fulfilled in the good and messy parts of motherhood. That's all I can say on it. I just don't know. Update 2. After raising them all their lives, I finally got to adopt them. Because it was a family adoption, it went 10,000 times quicker than a regular adoption. All 4 of my siblings are legally my kids now. I'm so grateful for them. Having them all safe with me forever. It's such a relief. No more worrying about them getting taken. And my parents no longer have rights over them. I'm legally allowed to have all their medical info. I'm allowed to take them to the hospital with no issues, school or whatever. I'm so happy. Update 3. After 24 hours of labor and 1 hour of pushing, we welcomed our precious baby girl into this world. Healthy and strong, weighing in at a solid 8 lb 9 ounces. Yes, I was pregnant, but it was a cryptic pregnancy, so I had no clue about it. So it was shocking to us all that she was so healthy and big. Without prenatal care, I gained a few pounds, but I looked pudgy, not pregnant. I never felt her kick or anything, but she's very healthy, which surprised us all. It's been a long 2 days, but I'm so grateful that she's so perfect and amazing. My other kids are just so damn excited about a newborn being in the house. I'm still in shock, but I honestly couldn't be happier with her. I want to say how grateful I am that I had my boyfriend by my side, holding my hand and giving me encouragement all throughout. I also want to give credit to everyone who had given birth out there. Man, that hurt more than I expected. We are so lucky and grateful for how smooth this all went. Hey there, Delilah. Update 4. Baby girl is doing great. She's so healthy and very loved. All the kids adore her. She just fits in so well with us all. She a very calm baby and just blends with the chaos. It's been hard though, because my parents keep trying to sneak their way into our home of a night. And usually we all ignore it because if they do come in, they crash and leave in the morning to repeat the cycle. But with a newborn in the house, that just won't fly anymore. So that's that. But I'm also doing okay. Man, recovery is intense. Update 5. I recently had a surprise baby that I didn't know about, and having to pay the hospital bill, plus having to make sure I have everything for her really set me back in terms of money. I'm barely able to put food on the table right now, and I still have my first sibling kids that I need to buy stuff for this year. My newborn won't even know what's going on anyway, so I'm not buying her stuff. We put our tree up and have made it as magical as we can in our home, but it really isn't doing us to good. I'm on paid maternity leave and my boyfriend works, but still, it is just getting us by after the big amount of money we have had to spend recently. My younger 4 are still believing in Santa, and my oldest is 15, so he obviously knows. And he knows money has been tight, and he's even told me to not bother getting him anything this year because he would rather his siblings get the presents. And my 3 kids that are younger but are old enough to enjoy Christmas are really excited and always talk about Santa coming. It just breaks my heart because in reality, I know Santa probably can't come this year. I'm trying my best, but I would much rather put food on the table. I would work extra jobs, but I would have no childcare and I cannot afford daycare. I want to make this year magical, but I don't know how to break it to them all that there probably will not be presents under the tree this year. I can't even begin to imagine their little faces on Christmas morning. Now it's worse because then they will assume they are on the naughty list, which they aren't. They have been so good. I've also been given a Christmas list by them, all and nothing on there that they want. I can afford. Like for my 2-year-old, I can buy him a few small toys and he would be content. But my 9 and 11-year-old would be very uncontent with cheap toys because they are too old for that. I don't expect anyone to know what to do or anything, I just needed to let it off my chest. Edit. Thank you to everyone who offered support in any way, shape, or form. I managed to put some things together last minute and my kids had a good Christmas. Final update. I have an almost 16-year-old and my youngest is 5 months old. Every day after school, he will come home and just pick her up and play with her for ages. He really just adores little babies and it's so precious to see those two bonds. He's also so protective over her and loves to take care of her, to the point I have to remind him that he doesn't need to do any of this. But he happily would just sit there and play with her all day. Well, I naturally brought it up in conversation and he told me why he loves taking care of her and it made me cry. So he's my brother who I adopted, but I have been raising since I was a kid myself and my baby is my first bio child. He said that it's like having a little me around and that he wants her to feel as loved and cared for as I should have felt when I was a baby too. He also said he wants to take care of me like I take care of him and this is his way of showing how. Now, obviously, I didn't want to cry in front of him, and I told him that he doesn't need to do any of this to prove he appreciates me or to take care of me, because that isn't his response. But he insisted. He loves doing it. Having a sibling who you raised in a parent-child manner really creates such a special bond that cannot be compared to. It's also extra strong between us because he was old enough to remember me being a kid myself. My other siblings don't remember me being a kid, but he does. What did I do to deserve this kid? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.